Welcome back to another episode of the Downsizing Roadmap podcast with your hosts, Jody Rosko and Heather Fisher. We're talking about all things downsizing, from our own experiences with clients to guest experts. Let's make downsizing easier, one conversation at a time.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're here.
We are here on our very first episode of Downsizing Roadmap podcast. I'm so excited to be here today.
Very exciting. We've been talking about this, and now we are here and excited to share a lot of good downsizing information, which I think people really need.
I agree. There's so much that I didn't know that I wish I had known, and some of my past experience. We'll talk about what that was, but yes, definitely so much information that is useful if you are working through that yourself or for your family with your kids.
Yeah.
Any of it.
Yeah.
So I'm Jody Rosko. This is Heather Fisher, and we are real estate agents. I've been a real estate agent since 2010 in Dayton, Ohio, and we have an arm of our business that's downsizing, and so that's what we want to talk about on this podcast.
So like Jody said, I'm Heather Fisher. I'm a realtor on the Rosko Group, and we've been together on the same team. We've both been in real estate longer, but I've been on Jody's team for almost 6 years.
It's crazy, right?
Crazy, but day one, when I met Jody, she said, there's a lot going on and people need some help in the downsizing, arena, and just makes real estate more complicated. Let's put some solutions in place. And so we've been doing that ever since.
Yeah. Downsizing is it's a whole own little animal, honestly. Like, moving up into a bigger house is really not the same as moving down from a house that you've been in for 30 or 40 years with all the things that you have accumulated. It's a whole nother. And you need people that help. And so we'll talk about that. So on our episodes, we're going to talk about different things that go around downsizing, whether that's, what to do with your stuff, what your mindset is, where you're going to go next. We're going to have interviews with people. We'll talk about real life situations with people that we've helped.
Yeah. We've met some amazing people.
We really have.
Our clients are the best.
All their stories. I really do love all their stories. It's really cool, and I do really feel like we're helping them at a time when they are often feeling really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the theme.
Yeah.
Overwhelm.
Right.
Is the theme. Yeah. And I don't remember if you said it, vendors, resources that we have met. We're excited to bring some of them here to answer your questions, because I think not only the information that they have to share is so valuable, but we've met the greatest people with the biggest hearts for helping people. So excited.
Yeah, I think it's an arena where people can get taken advantage of, and I think it's really important, to have people that we know are trustworthy. And so we've talked to a lot of people, and we've been able to find that. So I love that. There are great people out there, just so you know, that have restored my
faith in humanity. Is that the big way to say that? Yes,
that definitely.
For sure.
Great people.
For sure. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about your story on why downsizing was on your heart?
Yeah, so I did feel like it was a place where people needed a little bit more help when I was going to meet with people. But then I just had my own personal story around it. Mark, my husband's Mark, who's also on our real estate team, his dad passed away in 2018. And his mom, we ended up having, his mom moved in with his sister, but we had their house to kind of take care of. And that was my first kind of step into, oh gosh, this is hard. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff here and a lot of memories, and what are we going to do with all of it? And it took us a lot longer than I expected it to, because
you're a realtor. It should be easy, right?
I should just be able to knock that out. But when it's yours personally, it's just different. And so we started to figure out what resources we might need and work on that. And so that was kind of the beginning of it. And then my mom lived with my grandma in the house that they've been in since 1965. She went to prom with my dad from that house, and they're divorced since then. But she lived with my grandma and helped take care of her, and so all of my grandpa's stuff was in that house, and he had been passed away for 12 years, and then all of my mom's stuff and all of my grandma's stuff. So it was really packed full of things, as you know.
Yes.
And in 1 year, my grandma passed away in May, and my mom passed away that same December. And so, through lots of sadness and grief, we were also dealing with lots of stuff in the house, and I really just needed a lot more people to help me. So that was just as much of a real life experience as I could have around it. And I learned a lot of things from that. And I learned things that I wish had been different. And if I had known about them, they would have been different. And so I want to share that with people so that they can have that be a different experience.
Yeah, when I met you, your family had just gone through things with Mark's family, and we started down this journey, and I'm so thankful for our friendship, and that I was able to be there. When you went through everything with your mom and your grandma, I saw how difficult it was, because you not only had your grief, but we as a real estate team were trying to help with all the pieces of the house. And it is a process of finding the right people, the people that aren't going to take advantage, the people that are willing to do the hard stuff. And what are those things? You don't even think of everything you're going to need. And then, since that time in my own life, I'm so thankful. I have both of my parents still here and with us, but we're going through all of the later in life stages that we're all going to hit, and just being able to be prepared or to have the information that I never would have known before being in, just this realm of finding all this. It has been so helpful. It's still hard.
I think it's always going to be hard, but having some resources can make it easier.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel, I think that my biggest overwhelming feeling was just helplessness, not knowing exactly who to turn to, and not knowing what to do myself, because I'm certainly not an expert in,
the other pieces,
some of the other pieces, estate planning, and, where to go and all of those things. We will have people that come and talk about all of that stuff. And I'm super excited to share that information with our listeners, because, I think you are in a place, honestly, from where we were, that you have learned more, that you can help your parents a little bit better than I could have.
Yes, and I'm thankful for that. And I know, my family's thankful that we have those resources. And so I'm excited that we can just keep sharing that with a bigger audience, because there's a lot that you just don't think about till it's urgent.
And once you're in crisis, that it's a whole different place, and working from a place of crisis is never a great place to be coming from, whether it's you yourself that's downsizing and know that you need to, and haven't, and just are feeling stuck, or whether you are helping your adult child, helping your parents. Either way, there's lots of stuff that you can do to be prepared, and that's what I want this podcast to be able to share with people, is what can they do to be ready. Whether they're moving now or not doesn't actually really matter. Just lots of ways that you can get ready and find that peace of mind around it.
Yeah, because the being ready is freedom in and of itself.
It really is.
You don't wake up every day knowing that you're eventually going to need to downsize, what to do. You're carrying that weight of the unknown. And once you have a plan and a strategy, whether it's for tomorrow or for years down the road, you don't have to think about it every day.
Right, because you should be doing something, and that weighs on you.
Yeah.
When you're not.
Yep.
But you're not sure what to do. So we're going to help with that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited.
I am
excited,
too.
Yes.
Yes, I am too. So why downsizing? Why does it matter? Downsizing really isn't getting rid of everything that you have. I think sometimes that's what people think, that they think it's something that happens to them, and that they have to just get rid of everything they have in their life. And it isn't that. It's really you are going to get rid of some things, but it's about streamlining your life and just using the things that you need and having your space work for you.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people who are in properties that don't work. All the bedrooms are upstairs and they can't go upstairs anymore, or just reasons. The yard
Yard's
is
too big to take care of. All of the things. It's not always smaller.
Yeah, right. Sometimes it might even be the same amount of space. It's just that the layout is different.
Or the space you have doesn't work because it's too full of things.
Right.
That the space itself is okay.
Yeah.
But
you
you
need
haven't
to let go of
managed
some things.
You haven't managed it. So
And sometimes you want to be closer to family.
Yes.
Sometimes it's health. Safety. Sometimes it's freedom. You just want to travel and be able to not take care of things. So there's all kinds of reasons for downsizing, and I think the mindset. We're going to talk a lot about mindset over time. We'll talk about some of it today, but I think the mindset is really the first step in doing it, and I think that's where people maybe skip over that, and that's why they might have some trouble.
Yeah.
So
Jody, I think a whole group that our podcast can be really helpful to, that we have experience in, is those adult children helping their parents. So if that's one of you, stay tuned. There's lots of information because that's hard too.
Yeah, and we are those people.
We are,
so
we are those
feel
people.
You.
And, a lot of times that's the situations we come across that no one knows what to do. It's not a matter, sometimes someone physically is overwhelmed by the amount of work, but even when you've got family and friends that can help you with just the actual doing, you're not sure what to do or in what order, or how it can be a little easier. So
right, we want to help our parents, but we don't know how.
Yeah.
And they're feeling overwhelmed, and so there's some stress around it. And as the adult kids, how can we help without adding to the stress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think they just want all the stuff?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I just want to take the whole house of their stuff and just take it to my house. No.
Yeah. We know that that's not the case. If you're trying to pass it on, we can help with that. We know how to help you through that.
Yeah.
And if you're
definitely
the kid,
there will be things that they want, that I wanted, and that, the kids will want, but it may not be the things that the parents think they are. And that's okay.
We'll talk about that for sure, because
Yeah.
that's a big thing and a lot of feelings involved on both sides on that. So it can go awry.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we find the top reasons that people downsize are, life transitions, retirement. Sometimes they retire, they move, they want to move closer to family. And their house is too big. They're empty nesters. They've gotten to a place where the house is too big.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I think we
it's
have
health.
that stat on empty nesters that the average American household only uses 40% of their house. So if you had raised your family in a 5-bedroom house and you're down to only using 1 bedroom, I mean, it's a lot of space. You could have had basements that were the playroom and the entertainment room and all of that.
Right.
There's
now
a lot
we
of
have to clean them. We have to heat them. We have to, take care of all of that. And then all the things the room that it gives us to collect things that we don't need.
Yes. But even if you're coming from a place of, well, my house isn't cluttered, it can still be just the weight of space that you don't need.
Right.
I think. So lots of different problems or hurdles.
Yeah.
We call them hurdles, not problems.
Well, and I think that people just get really used to where they are and don't really think about what life could look like. So we'll talk about mindset here in just a minute, but that's again about the mindset of things. We had a client who was in a situation where he was using only, not even 40%. He was just kind of, he had a problem with his mobility, and so he was in the downstairs basement all of the time, and he had stairs to go up to the kitchen, and he could only do that once a day. And
the energy it took,
with his mobility, and so he needed to move, and he knew it, but he didn't have the physical means to do that. So we were able to help him find people that could help him go through the things that he had, help him pack that stuff up. We found him a great ranch house that he can, move through easily, and his dog could go and be comfortable with him.
And settled with the right stuff, not the stuff he didn't need.
Right.
Just
go through those things, get that all cleaned out, and then set up the house even. They set up the house so cute. They put all of his things out and helped him get a few new, bedding and some new things. And so he was just over the moon about his new situation. And I think we just get used to where we are, even if it's really bad.
We don't see how bad it is when we're living in it.
Yeah.
It's the change declines over time.
Yes.
And you don't notice it because it's just a small bit each day that something gets harder or something gets more neglected or, something is working less for you each day, and suddenly it doesn't work at all, but you haven't realized it yet.
Yeah. And so I think when we talk about what we're going to talk about a lot is mindset, and then what to do with your stuff. There's going to be a lot of conversations around that, and then where to go next, and then maybe what to do with the house. But when we talk about that mindset, I think that people don't spend a lot of time just thinking about what the future could look like.
Yeah.
We just kind of live our day to day, and we don't think how it could potentially be different. And we know what the past is, and we know we have those memories from the past. We know what the present is.
Yeah.
We know how we're living now. But I think sometimes they get stuck on what that future could look like. And so I think that's where you need to start. If you're going to start with your downsizing, I think you need to start with what could my future look like? And you have options. You could think of that as a positive or a negative.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes a lot of people feel like I hear them say things like, I have to move. I can't keep all my stuff. It's all like almost like it's something that has to happen to them instead of maybe something exciting that they could look at and say, how could my life be better?
Yeah. We talk a lot about focusing on that big why. I mean, a lot of times in the clients we've met, it's getting closer to their adult kids and grandkids, and that's amazing to be in the right space close to all the people that you love.
Yeah.
Or freeing up time from maintaining your house to travel, to do hobbies, pickleball. We have a lot of pickleball clients, all the fun things. And then sometimes it's really down to the things that come with aging. You need different health care. You need people around you daily helping with your daily needs or health needs. You need safety and security if you fall, or if something happens with your health. You need to be in a senior living community at various stages to get those extra things. And what have we discovered, Jody?
Everyone is so happy they've done it.
Yes. And also what I was going to say is that the senior living
Oh,
communities
yes.
of today are not at
We
all.
wanna live there.
If your only experience is a nursing home from 30 years ago, they are beautiful.
They really are. Like we go to see them. We want to see what their options are, and so we've gone and met with a lot of the people that work there, who are also some really fabulous people, by the way. Really big hearts. And
Yes.
Big hearts. And so, oh my gosh, there's
There
many times we've been like,
so
let's
many
move in.
amenities, both fun and social amenities, and the day-to-day laundry and meals and the things I could go.
I'm telling you. I mean, you're gonna make my dinner and you're gonna do my laundry, and
Yes.
it's gonna be, social time.
Yes.
I'm in.
Yes, we'll be roommates next door. We'll be like next door neighbors. We're ready. So
Yeah. So if you're thinking, that it's like your grandma's nursing home. You need to go out and check out some of
Yeah.
them, honestly. And I think sometimes information is power, right? And so you just need to kind of go out and see what's out there, and what other options there are, so that you can kind of get dreamy about what that could look like. Because I do feel like when I was saying, I made a kind of a little list of, what could be the positives. And I think emotional is one of them. Social. I think I think that COVID kind of taught us that we, being alone like that,
Yeah.
so isolated, is not good for us. And so even though it might feel comfortable in your house all by yourself, you don't even maybe know how amazing it would be to just be able to go have coffee with somebody, or, have breakfast with somebody or something like that.
Just those daily interactions, unplanned,
Yeah.
passing someone in the hallway, or, at the dining room, and things like that can bring so much to someone's life, where if not, days could go by before
Right.
someone is interacting with people. We know as adult kids, we're living a full life too, and just this day and age, our schedules are full, and it's not a matter of not wanting to be there for our parents and all of that, but that day-to-day community with that extended family is just harder. And I do think the community that someone could live in, if it's vibrant, can really bring so many benefits.
Yeah, I mean, it feels great to have people who are caring about you, more than just your family. Hey, I haven't seen her today. Let's go check on her. Let's just go have tea, or let's play cards. Or, my Nana was so vibrant. Like she was just somebody who was always on the go, and it was great to see, to have that role model for me of what that can look like. And she just had so many friends, and
I love that.
it was really cool. It was really cool to see that. So, so the positives financially, there can be positives about that. Big houses are expensive to take care of. Health wise, it might be safer somewhere. So just kind of get a little bit dreamy. What are you going to do with that time? Like, what are you going to be making room for in your life? Are you going to travel? Are you going to join some clubs? My Nana, after my grandpa passed away, went and joined a book club because she loves to read, and she went and became a docent at a museum.
Oh, fun.
And she just kind of decided she needed to get out there a little bit. And she was in her 80s. That was just amazing. But that brought her so much more joy, like watching her do that. And then that's putting yourself out there. I get that that is. But the joy that it brought her back was really cool to see. So just think about what that could look like, and what those next steps could look like, and how could your life be better. Write some positive things around that, because step 2 is kind of the stuff thing, and you can get a little mired in that. And what you need is to be able to have that big why, and what your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing kind of written up there for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm, elbow deep in the basement that I have stored things in forever. What am I doing? Oh, that's right. I'm going to go to, Italy, or I'm going to, go spend time with my grandkids, or whatever kind of motivates you.
So I know this will be a topic as we go forward. I have plenty of episodes about stuff, but maybe today we dive into it just a little bit. Step 1.
So I think that letting go of your stuff, it really is not about the stuff. It's not the stuff.
No,
what the
stuff
problem
is just stuff.
Yeah, stuff is just stuff. It's about the memories, right? And so I think that when you kind of get started on what to do with your stuff, again, I think there's some thinking that needs to happen before you do that. And I think some of it is what kind of legacy do you want to leave? Or like when I think of my grandma, my mom's mom, the first thing I think of is home cooking. Like that is, what she did. She fed us with love. That was her love. And so one of the things that I kept was, she had a handwritten cookbook that I had given her and asked her to start writing recipes in. And so we made a copy for everybody in the family. But I think, like, what legacy is it? What is it that you have? And those are the kind of important things that you want to leave. If it's books that you read or that you've liked to read, those can probably all go. There's a library, you can do all of those things, but you know, if
Unless
there's
that
something
was your
specific,
thing. Yeah, if books are your thing.
but you still,
Put
even if
that-
there's 100 of them,
Yep, you put that message in the one favorite. You make sure the story is there, that's your favorite,
yep,
and the rest is okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so it's kind of deciding what those legacy things are. I did get my love of reading partially from my Nana. And so I do have her first edition of the Winnie the Pooh book that she used to read me.
Yes.
So, but that's, you know, I don't have everything. I just have the one, and that's, you know, that reminds me. So starting to let go of the stuff is really, it's the stories behind the stuff. So your kids will want things, but not a lot of things.
How many things do we have?
Oh, the average American house?
Yes.
300,000 things.
Mm-hmm. Nobody wants your 300,000 things.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it is.
It is insane.
Yeah,
So no wonder it's overwhelming.
absolutely.
Really. I mean, it's overwhelming for almost everybody. So if you're in that space and you're thinking about it and you're feeling overwhelmed, you are not alone. You are not alone in that.
I think that even for ourselves, if you're the one in the position of, I love all my things, I don't want to get rid of anything, I love it all, I think there's a little bit of a reality check in there when you put that number to it.
Well, you can't, everything can't be special.
Yeah, you don't want all 300,000 things. So that's part of the process, is really thinking about that, what that legacy is for yourself, that what are the things that I really love the most, that I want maybe a few more things in that category, but you don't need all 300,000 items. Start with the ones that you don't, and don't get hung up on thinking those few that you really do love is everything, all encompassing.
Right, because honestly, even if you had 100 of something, they can't all be special.
Right.
You can't, even if you have a collection of 100 teacups, they're not, every single one is not as special as the other ones,
Yeah.
right? So, so you have to be kind of realistic about what that looks like. And there are ones that are special. I'm not saying there aren't, just, you know, be realistic about what that looks like.
Yeah. If it's truly the 100 teacups, you can't also have a collection of records and a collection of stamps and, which,
Well, and collectors do seem to collect, and so
multiple categories, multiple things. So.
And I think asking your kids what that legacy is in their mind is also something, like, you might not know that they really appreciate this something about you. Like, they really, like my grandma's cooking. She might not have known how much we really did love it. I mean, she did it, but she might not have known how important that was for me to have her recipes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, so I think start thinking about what that legacy looks like. We are going to talk a lot about stuff in future episodes, so stay tuned.
Yes.
We will definitely be able to help with what that looks like. So, and also remember, you're not letting go of the memories. If you can write down the stories or record the stories or whatever about the stuff, it's the stories that are important, and then the stuff can go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. We get asked a lot of times, how do we know when the time is right to downsize? And I think it's when life isn't serving you. And I think you have to be a little realistic with yourself about that, because back to, it kind of goes
Creeps
down.
up.
Yeah, it creeps up on you. And I think we teach downsizing classes. If that's something you're interested in, reach out to us and we can talk to you about that. But we teach these classes, and a lot of people know. They just know they need to.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're not ready right now. And I think that's just a fear of that future unknown. And if you start kind of having a path to go down, which we will share with you what our path is as we go along, marching down the path actually feels good. It feels like it's going to be not feeling good, but it actually does feel good.
I mean, all through life, don't we all love when you can put the check mark beside something? I mean, it's just knowing what's my small chunk today to get started, and having that power of the path. And then you can just mark the things done, or get the people that can mark it done for you. And we have those, resources to say, here's who you need for that. So yeah, I think on the flip side, we also come across people that would love, they're not fighting actually being somewhere else more manageable. They don't know how to get there, so they're kicking that can down the road and telling us, I'm not ready yet.
Tomorrow.
I'm not ready yet, but really they don't know how to get there, and they would love it if they could snap their fingers.
Well, and we've seen that too. We've given them the path that they could walk down, and when they said it's going to be 3 or 4 years, it's 3 or 4 months, because once you get on the path and they know what to do, they are ready.
Yeah.
They're just saying 3 or 4 years because they think in their mind, I couldn't possibly handle all of this.
Yes.
And if it takes you a couple years, that's okay. But if you're ready now, we've got a path to help you get there too. So
yeah. And that path, if it is more of a crisis, some people haven't done the preparation, and you have to do things quicker. Definitely experienced that in my own family, and you have to, if you don't have a plan, of course that's always a better path. But if you don't, that's okay too. We have quick plans that we can help you with.
And I think in the quick plans, what you need is some experts.
Yeah.
I think that's what you need the most. That's when you need them the most, is if you're going to just kind of downsize yourself over a few years and nothing catastrophic is going to happen during that time, you probably can do that. When something catastrophic happens, we need those experts to come in and help us quickly. And we have some great ones that'll come and talk to us. So I'm excited
give us some tips
for you on that. So I think that's a general idea of what our podcast is going to be about.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when someone looks around and they're thinking they want to downsize and they feel completely overwhelmed, what's the very first step you'd tell them to take?
I really think the first step is stepping back and doing that big why. I think that first step is to really start thinking about what their future could look like, so they could get excited about that. And then we'll give you the path on how to deal with this stuff. I think that people focus on the stuff, and that's where they stop, because they're like, they look around and they think,
it's not fun.
I'm exhausted already and I haven't even done anything. And so I think focusing on the future first is what you should do.
Great info.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So next week, we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but I'll tell you next time. But it's a really great way to help you pare down your stuff with a mindset of the 80-20 rule.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. Do we have any questions from that we were going to answer from that we've gotten before?
Yeah, I think just the one about how when's the right time. We also get a lot of questions on what to keep. If you all have questions, send them to us. We would love to answer your questions. Maybe we'll do a whole podcast on answering questions one of these times. But we also get one of how do we know what to keep and what to let go. And honestly, that's where the stories come in. So I think not everything in my house has a story, and not everything in your house has. I mean, the story might have been, I went to Target and bought it. That's the story. Well, that's
the story of your junk drawer.
There's a story, but it's not one that's like
not a good
vital
one
for the future.
Yes.
It's not a legacy story, right? So which things have the legacy stories?
Right.
And that's where we're gonna start. So there's a quote that Joshua Becker, who does a lot of downsizing, he has a great book, but his quote is, maybe the life that you've always wanted is buried under everything you own. And I just love that quote right in the beginning. That was one of the first quotes that we found around downsizing.
Yeah,
and
it was in our class.
Yeah.
Like the very first
first
class
one
we did years ago, and it resonates with me, and I think I'm excited. I think we can unbury that life for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the reason it resonates so much for me is because my mom had so much stuff that I really do feel like her life was buried under it, and I think stuff is heavy, physically heavy, but also emotionally heavy, and I think that people always feel so much lighter, even in houses where they're not downsizing. And when we just tell them to clean everything, so we can take pictures to sell the house after they do it, they're like, why don't I live like this?
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's heavy stuff just kind of wears on you, even though you don't think it is.
Yeah.
And so I love that. Maybe the life that you've always wanted is buried under everything you own. So
Yeah. Awesome.
we're going to try to help you unbury.
Well, such a good conversation today. Our website, if you need it, is www.downsizingroadmap.com. We've got a lot of resources, and we'll keep adding as we go on in the podcast. But you can always reach out to us through there. And we're excited for next time. 80-20 rule.
The
What is
80-20.
it, and how can it help us?
Yep. All right.
Awesome.
Send us your questions.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Downsizing Roadmap podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who might need a little downsizing inspiration. Have questions or ideas for future episodes? Reach out to us on our website, www.downsizingroadmap.com. Until next time, let's keep simplifying and moving forward.